Would you like to accelerate your career and reach your full potential in just minutes a day? Welcome to the LEADx Show with New York Times best-selling author and Inc. 500 entrepreneur, Kevin Kruse.
What are the 3 B's that can help you to avoid burnout? Hello everyone, Kevin Kruse here, helping you to get 1% better each and every day. Today we're going to learn about motivation, entrepreneurial drive, and a lot of tips for success. But first, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter at LEADx.org. Each issue has actionable tips you can try out right away to advance your career and to fulfill your potential. Visit LEADx.org. Our guest today is the author of The Entrepreneur's Book of Actions and co-founder of Wild Creations, an award-winning startup toy company. Prior to founding Wild Creations, he worked as an economic and small business development consultant for USAID. Our guest is Rhett Power. Welcome, Rhett.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Good to be on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So we're going to talk about Entrepreneur's Book of Actions in just a minute. We're going to start with a couple of questions our listeners are always interested in. The first, can you tell us about a time early in your career when you failed? What lessons did you learn from it?
Wow, how many times have I failed? Now, that's a great question. We fail all the time, but I go back to when we first started the company, and I learned so many valuable lessons. There were so many times where we just wanted to quit, where quitting would have been the easy choice. To go back to the workforce and get another job would have been really easy. That would have been the easy way out. But we learned a lot of things. I learned to get back up when you get knocked down. I learned how tough I was. I learned not to take no for an answer. I learned how to stay focused. The first couple of years of our business was extremely tough. We didn't pay ourselves, and we were very arrogant, I think, going in because we felt we were going to be instant successes. We had all these tools. We were smart. We had money. We had a lot of great experience in business, and that with our own shop, we were going to do it right and we were going to do it quick. And after 2 years in, we had failed. We had failed in leadership. We had failed in planning. We had failed in setting the right course for the business. And we were broke. We were tired. We were almost bankrupt. And we learned through all that, we learned toughness. We learned how to get back up when we got knocked down. And we learned to never give up. But we also learned some other valuable lessons like business planning, to plan better, to make better decisions. And so the failure was really a godsend. I think we're very arrogant and too confident going in. And the failure at the very beginning, I think, actually helped us succeed later.
Rhett, so much good stuff there. I'll share just to emphasize the point. My early business failures, there have been several. They've always been when I was most confident that I was going to succeed.
Exactly.
You said it, it's sort of an arrogance, right? We think we just know it's such a great idea. We're so smart at it. And it's those times of confidence are the times that I've missed the mark or the market wasn't there. And the market will teach you a lesson, that's for sure. So I often say, you either succeed or you learn. You either win or you learn. There really is no failure. You certainly learn a lot more from the tough times. I love all that.
Right. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that I could survive that. I didn't know that I would get back up. And you learn that about yourself.
Yeah, right. You get tougher every time.
Right.
What is your advice or thoughts on work-life balance, and how do we try to achieve it?
Work-life balance? What is that?
Yeah, I forgot I was talking to an entrepreneur here.
Wow. Well, work-life balance. Well, I think you have to have a friend that can pull you out, because I know for me, I'm terrible at time management. It's one of my huge weaknesses, and I have to really, really, really stay focused on it, which means for me is I'll work a 14-hour day because I didn't manage my time right. And so, or I didn't say no to somebody I should have said no to, or put something off that wasn't that important. So I have to have a friend that pulls me out. And I learned that after a few years of being, working 80, 90, 100 hours a week, that you have to have a friend that can help you kind of take a break, take a weekend off. I think also that you do have to realize, that you are going to sacrifice some of those things, like those weekends away, the you used to go to music festivals on the spur of the moment, and you give up so many things that you really like to do. The night out with friends for a beer, poker night at your buddy's house. So you give those up. You're going to give those up, and I think you have to go into starting a business with that realization. I also think you have to take time. For me, I had to learn this the hard way, that you have to take time for personal growth. Our businesses aren't going to grow if we don't grow personally. And I think that's a huge lesson that I learned. And I think those are some things that you have to keep in mind when you're thinking about this whole question of work-life balance.
Your business, your career, it will not grow if you don't grow. Rhett, your book is The Entrepreneur's Book of Actions, and it's literally an action you can take every day for over a year, like 53 weeks. So ideally, listeners, you get this book and a blank journal so you can do these exercises every day. And of course, that's exactly what we try to do. We challenge our listeners to get 1% better every day. So my first question is very specific, Rhett. You have a phrase, you say, break, breathe to avoid burnout, the 3 B's. And it's break spelled B-R-E-A-K and break, B-R-K-E-E. Break, breathe. So what are you talking about?
I think if you don't take a break, it'll break you. You get so wound up and so stressed. I mean, I just remember, I remember this instance where my business partner and I were sitting at the back of our warehouse one day, and we were just completely broken. And I think the only reason we both didn't break down and sort of crawl into a corner and have a complete meltdown was we were both standing there. We were going to see who the first one to sort of fold was going to be. I think it was a matter of wills there, or a matter of just but no, it's about taking a break. It's going back to that time management question, or that work-life balance question. Is you gotta still do some things that you love. You gotta still spend some time with your kids. You still have to spend some time with your buddies. You have to take that time and take those breaks. And you have to. I mean, I had to learn to pull myself away and go back to doing some of the things I love, like some of my hobbies. And if you don't, business is all, I mean, you get so absorbed, and I was guilty of this. I mean, I love working. I enjoy what I do, but if you don't, you're gonna burn out.
Yeah, listeners, again, this is great advice. When I was young and dumb in my 20s, similar to Rhett, I loved what I was doing, and I also felt like I was running from a dragon. There was just always more to do, more fires to put out, more disasters to take care of. If you don't pre-schedule time in every day, week, month, year to take your breaks, you're going to become a person like that's, had too many drinks and they don't realize they've had so much to drink they can't drive home. You get so burnt out and frazzled, you don't see it in yourself. And looking back, I mean, when I was young and dumb and not taking any breaks, not resting and recovering, how good of a leader could I have been back then when I was just so burnt out? How good of a salesperson could I have been? How creative or strategic could I be thinking? So you've got to schedule those breaks into your calendar and honor those times.
Absolutely.
Rhett, I think it's in week 9 of your book, you have leadership lessons, and this show's obviously about leadership. So what are your tips to be a great leader?
I think everybody's got to find their own style, but I do believe there's some, you analyze great leaders, and I've written columns on this before, but I think they have certain characteristics. I think being transparent, I think being consistent, I think being honest, being encouraging, and being an example are all things that are the hallmarks of good leaders and great leaders. And I think those are sort of really, really the key to being a good leader.
Great. Now, a question I get several times a day via email is some form of, I'm struggling with procrastination. How do I cure my procrastination? So what's your advice?
Well, here's the thing. I've never been diagnosed, but I think I have ADD. I'm pretty certain, because I have the attention span, and everybody on my team will tell you I have the attention span of a gnat. And so I get very easily distracted, and this goes to procrastination. I'm going to answer the question, but I have to make a list first and foremost. I actually have to, and I have to manage my day like this. And so I have to take the time to focus on the things that I don't like to do. Those tough emails, those tough phone calls. And if I don't do those right up front in the morning, and that's what I try to do with my time, is actually schedule the tough stuff first. And this is just my personality. And I'm not saying works for everybody, but I have to schedule the tough stuff first and then get to the stuff later in the day that I like. And I've disciplined myself over time to do that, to get those tough things out of the way first in the morning. But it is essential that you do those. I mean, that's a business killer. Procrastination can really, really put a dent in your business.
I know. Some people talk about eat the frog. If you have to eat the frog, do it first thing in the morning to get out of the way.
Yeah. And this is simple, but it's true. Yeah.
I like, Rhett, what you said. You talk about scheduling the hard stuff, which of course is a recurring theme of mine. If you truly want to get something done, schedule it and then, live from your calendar. So whatever you're procrastinating on, put the time block into your calendar and then honor it. It's great advice.
Well, it's a tool for me to use because I will procrastinate. I'm guilty of that. And I did it in college. And, you just learn learn some hard lessons.
Rhett, before we wrap up, again, I like to challenge our listeners to get 1% better every single day. So what's something that you can challenge them with? What could they go out and try to do today?
Well, look, I think one of the things that I have learned over years in business is that you can't do it alone. And I know, again, this is something that people talk about a lot, but I think today I'd like your listener to go out and make a list of a few people who would be a good mentor. And by the way, you can have more than one. So you can make a list of people in different areas that might be helpful to you, and reach out to them and ask them to take them to coffee, and ask them if they would, sit down with you once a month or so and be willing to help you along your journey. And I think most people will be flattered to do it in most cases. But I think it's really essential. I didn't have great mentors when we first started in business. Again, that was going back to me thinking that I knew it all. And I challenge your listeners to go out and do that.
Rhett, I think we're brothers from another mother because same thing back when I was young and dumb. I thought I had all the answers, didn't need any mentors, didn't need any advisors. I thought I knew it all. Mm-hmm. But I later learned, look, anybody who achieves anything great, they don't do it alone. And it's finally when I got those mentors, got those business partners that things really turned around. Rhett, what's the best way our listeners can find out more about you, your company, and your book?
Okay, good. You can reach me and find out more about what I do at www.rhettpower.com. That's spelled RHETTPOWER. Yes, my mother had an infatuation with Clark Gable and Gone with the Wind. But rhettpower.com, you can link there to the book, which is the Entrepreneur's Book of Actions. And that is a 53-week reader that's going to help you. It's like having a business consultant or a business coach without the $2,000 a month fee. And you can read more about the new book that's just come out. And you can hook up with me on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. And there you go.
All right, friends, you've just been mentored by entrepreneur Rhett Power. You can get the links and show notes from this interview over at LEADx.org. And listeners, I need to ask a favor. If you're getting your money's worth from this podcast, will you pay it forward? Take 1 minute, leave an honest review over on iTunes. The more reviews this show gets, the more likely it is that iTunes will show off our show to potential new listeners. Until next time, my friends, remember, you don't need a title to be a leader. It's not about power or authority. Leadership is influence. How will you lead today?